conference happening right now. This is regarding Vanessa Marcotte, the murder of Vanessa Marcotte. The district attorney in Worcester about to speak in just a moment. We are awaiting this news conference.
Good afternoon.
Let's listen in.
We have made some progress in the case, and I'd like to make a brief statement in Vanessa Marcotte's homicide. We believe that there was a struggle between Vanessa and her killer that may have resulted in her killer receiving injuries, and her assailant, we know, was a man. These injuries specifically were scratches, scrapes, and/or bruises. Therefore, we would ask that anyone who has observed a male with these types of injuries that would have been fresh earlier in the week to contact the Massachusetts State Police tip line at 508-453-7589. Evidence and information that we have in this case, again, leads us to believe that there was a struggle between Vanessa and her assailant that led to scratches, cuts, scrapes, and/or bruises. Anyone who's observed a male with these types of injuries, we would ask that you contact the Massachusetts State Police tip line at 508-453-7589. Also, we're now focusing on a more narrow timeline on Sunday between the hours of 1 to 3 p.m. on Brook Station Road in Princeton, Mass. We would ask that anyone who observed any type of vehicle moving on the road or parked on the road during the 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. time frame contact the State Police tip line at 508-453-7589. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You've been listening to Massachusetts authorities brief the press on the latest into the investigation, murder of Vanessa Marcotte, woman from New York City, killed while on a jog in Massachusetts. And you just heard some of the basic. They believe there was a struggle during her attack. They've narrowed the timeline between 1 to 3 in Princeton, Massachusetts. And they believe during that struggle that whoever her assailant was must have gotten some maybe some scratches, maybe some bruises, and that can possibly lead to the person behind this.
Of course, we continue to follow this story both on air and online.
Residents of Yemen's Sanaban village rallied near the crime scene of the Saudi bombardment of a wedding party that claimed the lives of 46 civilians. They slammed Riyadh for denying Saudi warplanes' involvement in the crime against their relatives.
We say to the Saudi official who denied his country's massacre that this is another evidence that you are killers and too cowardly to admit your crime. Now our sons and fighters are resolute to take revenge.
Demonstrators called on the UN to investigate the Saudi war crime and stressed that they wouldn't rest till Saudi rulers who are behind the unlawful war against their country are brought to justice.
We believe that the international community, led by the United Nations, has let down Yemenis who are people of wisdom known for their morals. Yemenis face an immoral enemy who dares do anything. Therefore, we say that we will fight back, even if we're forced to fight with our daggers.
This is the remaining of the three-story house. The survivors of the attack say Saudi Arabia has used an internationally banned weaponry that has burned people alive and was intended to kill as many as possible of civilians. On October 7th, Saudi warplanes targeted this wedding house that led to the killing of dozens of people. Wissam has lost 18 members of his family, including his mother and father.
We have found our family members burned to death because of the banned weaponry used in the attacks. The same case with my father, who was disfigured, and I have only identified him by his watch.
Sanaban's wedding party was not the only Saudi attack on big gathering of civilians in Yemen. Saudi warplanes have targeted another wedding gathering in Mocha city that killed over 26 civilians and injured dozens of others. Since the beginning of the Saudi invasion of Yemen, nearly 9,600 Yemenis, mostly civilians, have been killed and some 3 million people have been displaced. Mohammed Al-Attab, Press TV from Sanaban village, Damar province.
In new footage released by Yemen's army, several Saudi armed vehicles are targeted and a Saudi watchtower is also bombed inside the kingdom. The attack reportedly occurred late last month in Saudi Arabia's Najran region near the border with Yemen. Russian fighter jets have bombed a chemical weapons factory near Daesh-held city of Raqqa in Syria. The Russian Defense Ministry says warplanes also destroyed a Daesh training camp as well as nearby arms and oil depots. For the second such operation by Russian warplanes in Syria this week. The United Nations Special Envoy for Syria, Staffan de Mistura, says civilians in a Syrian city of Aleppo are affected by shortages and are in danger. He also stressed a need for 48-hour pause in fighting between warring sides to deliver sufficient aid to residents. Former Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki says the Israeli regime is the main supporter of takfiri terrorists in the Middle East. Maliki says Israel benefits from the havoc wreaked by the terrorists in the region, and it tries to prevent regional countries from getting together in a unified anti-terror front. Libyan government forces have liberated over 2/3 of the coastal city of Sirte from Daesh terrorists. Libyan officials say the city's southern and western sections are now under the control of troops loyal to the UN-brokered government. The Libyan forces are securing and demining areas captured from Daesh and Sirte. The International Monetary Fund has decided to grant Egypt a $12 billion loan to boost the country's ailing economy. Money is intended to support an Egyptian government reform plan. Egypt's economy is in bad shape following years of political unrest in the wake of the downfall of the country's former regime. The United Nations rights chief has slammed Bulgaria's policy towards asylum seekers. Zaid Rad al-Hussein says Bulgaria may have violated international law by detaining refugees trying to enter or leave the country. He also expressed concern about attacks on asylum seekers and rising hostile rhetoric toward foreigners. U.S. authorities are investigating yet another fatal shooting of a citizen by police. Victims of 14-year-old Jesse Romero, who was gunned down in Los Angeles Tuesday. Police say the Hispanic teenager had a gun and shot at officers before being killed. His family denies this, saying the shooting was unprovoked.
والله العظيم بقى عليها صار كم صورت كم